This nootropic supplement may have slipped your radar as you're doing your research on your next nootropic. It is called Hunter Focus. It is by Hunter Evolve. They actually have a line of supplements. They have a test booster and they also have a fat burner. But it's also part of the larger supplement company Raw Ambition that basically has supplements for almost everything. And they have a lot of, competing supplements too in the same category. But their Hunter Evolve line would be considered widely as their quote unquote premium brand, where the supplements are typically a little more expensive, but the formulations are a little more comprehensive than a lot of their other supplements and a lot of other brand supplements too. It is why it is typically classed as a premium supplement. And I actually quite like the formula. It is well dosed, there are a lot of solid ingredients in there, but there are some drawbacks with this. So I want to make sure that you have this information so you're able to make an informed decision for whichever nootropic you want. So as always, I'm going to go through the ingredients, the dosages, the price, and if it's worth it for you, and if there are better nootropic supplements. And as always, everything will be down in the description if you wish to purchase this or any other nootropic. So let's start with this monstrous ingredients list. Now I'm not going to spend too much time on every ingredient because otherwise this video will be way too long. But I've got some notes here, so I'll be going back and forth. But we'll look at acetyl L-carnitine at 800 milligrams as the largest dose in there. Now it's a little bit of a speculative supplement when we're talking about brain function. In healthy individuals, it doesn't seem to have any benefits regarding cognitive function. However, there may be potential for those with cognitive degeneration, although the results are relatively mixed. Now the mechanism behind it is that it can help keep brain cells alive and is one of the reasons that it is potentially used as an early detection and therapy option for Alzheimer's disease. Now don't go take that as medical advice, that is just some speculative ways that it is used. Now in human trials, we see conflicting results. They typically indicate improvements in cognitive impairments across populations, and others suggest changes in brain chemistry and function in Alzheimer's patients. So while it is a little speculative, I don't mind it being in there. It can potentially help with anyone who is dealing with some kind of cognitive decline. We then have L-tyrosine at 500 milligrams. L-tyrosine is pretty much in every nootropic supplement. However, it is always underdosed because you're not going to fit 2+ grams into a capsule, which is typically needed to see improvements in cognitive function in stressful situations. We have organic lion's mane mushroom, again another popular mushroom ingredient, known as like the nootropic of the mushroom world, at 500 milligrams. Again, one of the higher doses within nootropic supplements as well, and it's potentially shown to improve cognitive performance and reduce stress. You also see benefits in working memory, complicated attention, and reaction time from higher doses of lion's mane mushroom. So there's something there. Bacopa monnieri at 300 milligrams, probably one of my favorite nootropic ingredients because it has much more research backing it than a lot of other ingredients. And we're talking improvements in things like verbal learning, memory development, and delayed recall. Ashwagandha root, probably another popular one in many supplements. Again, helps with stress and anxiety. 300 milligrams, you're right in the bang smack middle of the dosing range, which is nice. Ceticoline is a memory enhancer. Typically is dosed around 500 milligrams within the research. This is 250 milligrams. Whether lower doses work or not, I'm not too sure because the research doesn't really go that low. However, it's in there and it can potentially help since it is a precursor to a neurotransmitter that helps with memory recall. We're looking at L-theanine, and can't forget that it's paired here with caffeine in a 2-to-1 ratio, which within the research we're looking at 2-to-1 ratios typically. In my experience, I've gone up to even 4-to-1 ratios of L-theanine to 4-to-1 and even lower than 2-to-1 in terms of L-theanine to caffeine ratio, and they've all worked for me. So it's probably one of the most effective nootropic stacks because it is a stimulant. And the L-theanine will take the edge off the caffeine, it'll give you really smooth energy, and it enhances cognitive function better than just caffeine alone. So that'll be your main brain boosting ingredient in Hunter Focus. And you have ginkgo biloba, so you've got clinical trials showing that it enhances working memory and processing efficiency. However, its effectiveness in adults under 60 is up for debate. So again, another one for maybe more cognitive deterioration or cognitive decline in terms of its benefits. We then have phosphatidylserine, which I can never say on this channel, 100 milligrams, which is the standard dose pretty much across every nootropic supplement that uses it, and is on the lower end of the range that's typically used in the research. We see that it improves memory function in elderly individuals experiencing cognitive decline, with maritime pine bark extract at 75 milligrams and rhodiola rosea extract at 50 milligrams. Maritime pine bark is an antioxidant that may improve cognitive function, and the initial studies on this actually show somewhat positive results in elderly, students, and professionals, implying effects on mind and memory. It might also help with traumatic brain injuries, so if anyone who is in some kind of combat or collision sport, that's potentially beneficial too. Rhodiola rosea has been shown to boost mood and lessen symptoms of anxiety and stress, similar to how ashwagandha works. And then we're looking at Panax ginseng and Spanish sage to round it out, with memory boosting benefits for both of them. So that's the complete formula. Actually a really well-rounded formula and a lot of good ingredients in there. Now, the downsides of this is that it's stimulant based. When I'm taking a nootropic, I don't want more stimulants because if I'm having something in the morning with caffeine, I don't want more caffeine on top. It also limits when you can use it in the day, because if I'm past midday or closer in the evening and I need something to help with maybe an important task, I'm not going to be taking this because then I'm not going to sleep. Further, The main benefits, or I should say probably most of the benefits you're going to get from this, are from the L-theanine caffeine stack, since that is the most potent nootropic stack you'll find. It overrides pretty much anything else because it is a stimulant. You should also know that the serving size is 6 capsules a day, so you're going to have to take 6 of these every single day to be able to get these benefits. Capsules are easy to swallow though, they're just your normal capsule size. So let's cover the price. Is this even worth it for you to buy? Again, I mentioned this was the premium option, which means the pricing is a little more premium than other nootropic brands. We're talking $2.25 to $3 per serving, depending on if you're buying in bulk or if you're buying just single or 2 of these products. Now, this still isn't even on the high end of nootropics. Some nootropics can get up to even $7 per serving, which in my opinion is outrageous. But in terms of a standard nootropic price, you're typically looking at anywhere from like $1.50 to $2.50 per serving. So for Hunter Focus, you're just on the higher, just above that, outside of that range, and that more premium tier range. Now, if you're looking for a stimulant-based nootropic, something that has caffeine in it that you can take in the morning, maybe you don't want to drink coffee or energy drinks, then Hunter Focus, I highly recommend for that. But if you're after a nootropic that has brain-boosting ingredients without the caffeine, without the neurostimulants, then you need to make sure you check out this video next, because it ranks our top 5 nootropics for memory and focus, and the #1 nootropic supplement in that video has 3 clinical research papers backing it and a great formula that you can use without caffeine.